Big doings with the Providence City Council this week. Let's dig in.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Taco Comfort Solutions.
The president of the City Council, John Igliozzi, conducted a meeting of the whole, if you will, on an emergency basis on the issues of violence, police relationship to the community, how the police are feeling, ATVs, you name it. It was on the table, and frankly, it was, in my judgment, and I don't often give these accolades, right? It was one of the more constructive public meetings I have seen, finessed pretty well in the sense that you got a situation here where it could have been a bunch of grandstanding, and it really only had a limited amount of it. We'll get into that with John coming up here in a couple of minutes. So welcome aboard. It is great to have you. John is obviously doing some work here, and he's a very busy guy. We're just going to put him aside, tell him to stop moving paperwork around while I get to Andrew Cuomo, who's got his own problems. Headline here this week, Governor Cuomo gave his 14-day notice. Gosh knows if it will go 14 days, but here's what he said.
I think that given the circumstances, the best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing. And therefore, that's what I'll do, because I work for you. And doing the right thing is doing the right thing for you. Because as we say, it's not about me, it's about we. Kathy Hochul, my lieutenant governor, is smart and competent. This transition must be seamless. We have a lot going on. I'm very worried about the Delta variant, and so should you be. But she can come up to speed quickly, and my resignation will be effective in 14 days.
You know, it's fascinating. Kathy Hochul rises to the New York governorship in a maze of progress with her personal political career based on the misbehavior of men. If you go back and do the history, and I'm not going to alliterate it now, candidates before her in congressional seats, sex scandals, criminal scandals. Now Andrew Cuomo has got his own sexual harassment and potential criminal scandal. She must think that, you know, boys, just keep being boys. I might be the President of the United States, just in terms of the channel that she's been able to follow. What's fascinating about Andrew Cuomo is that his Democratic support just fell out. If not for that, he would be toughing this out because the constituency there in New York is actually still bullish on him. And so do not be surprised if he says, you know what, if he gets past an impeachment deal, you say, why would he be impeached if he resigns? They may impeach him anyway, to make sure that he doesn't run again. If you're thinking Donald Trump, some similarities, but it's kind of a fluid situation in New York. I don't think he's done. I hope he's learned his lesson, because he is the definition of an old-fashioned cad, and it's too bad because he's got so much talent and so much to give. It's an interesting deal there. Coming home to our governor, who called for Governor Cuomo to resign. He had his press briefing yesterday on COVID, and I'll just outline a couple of the key things here. There will be no mask mandate in the schools. There's been a kind of an interesting flip. So in August, this is August, earlier in the summer, the governor suggested that the districts could decide themselves on mask mandates in the public schools. The superintendents, who have by and large done a terrific job keeping things together, grabbed their baby rattles and cried that they didn't want to decide that on them, for themselves, because they didn't want to deal with parents who argued on both sides of the aisle. So they asked the state, in a formal way, to make a statement about masks. The governor didn't want to do that. Then the CDC came out and gave a national strong recommendation for masks in the schools, and the governor's kind of sat behind that, understandably. We talked about that with him last week. Now the governor is saying, look, we're not going to do a mask mandate. We don't have the authority. He doesn't have the emergency authority that he used to. The General Assembly took that away from him on September 1st, or coming up for September 1st. So the districts are going to have to make these decisions. And one district may feel one way, another may feel another based on infection rates. You know, my message to you is stay tuned. It'll probably change. If the FDA ever gets full approval, we may see a slide down to even the little kids being able to get shots. And by the end of the school year, this thing may calm itself down. In the meantime, stay calm and understand the most important thing is getting all the kids into the school, mask or not. Just be patient. COVID was never going to be an 18-month ordeal. It's a few years. Remember that. All right, last night, council meeting. I should say we're recording this show rather on Wednesday night. I still get used to this being a nightly show. We are really focused on what the quality of life is in the city of Providence. And I'm sorry, I still, even though there's such provinciality in this state, I still believe as Providence goes, so goes Rhode Island. And John Igliozzi is the president of the city council. I'm guessing you agree with that concept, right?
Well, of course. The bottom line is the city. We are a city-state, and commerce, people quality of life, our medical centers, our top colleges. It all is the epicenter of the downtown Providence, the city of Providence, and it further. You know, our quality of life goes, it has an impact on Cranston and Johnston and North Providence because it just further impacts them. So we need to understand that City of Providence can't be alone, it's not an island. Everybody has to work together to make it work correctly. And making it a safe city, making an inviting city for visitors and commerce and business owners to feel comfortable opening their businesses. And by the way, average people just want to live here. That's all important for the city of Providence and to the state.
Agreed. Short executive summary, then we'll dig in the next couple of segments. You called the meeting because?
Well, we called the meeting because there's been this increased frustration from that the constituents have, the city has. We've been hearing from my colleagues, and the administration's not dealing with these serious issues facing the city. You know, they're very good at like the big stuff, you know, the whole national issues and all that national, you know, the candy stuff that makes everybody excited. But meanwhile, back at home, back to the basics. Is your garbage picked up? Are your streets cleaned? Are your parks functioning? Are your streets safe? Do people feel comfortable living in their houses? Those are the things the city is supposed to be providing for the people who live here, the business owners that want to operate a business, and the visitors coming. So as we kept on moving along, especially the last couple of years, you know, COVID was a horrible event, still is a horrible event, we're still in the middle of it, but it has further caused and exacerbated the situation where this ATV issue is a major, major issue. It's had a damning effect on our quality of life.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So why don't we pause? We'll come back and we'll talk about that specifically and some of the concerns that this city council president has about the administration. And who is the administration? I think people are confused. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. So here was a really interesting, now listen, there was a ton of things. I would recommend you go on the city's YouTube channel, or WPRI.com actually, and watch that meeting if you didn't get a chance to last night. It's 3 hours in length, but it's pretty substantial. The city council president, our guest here this evening, wrote a letter to the governor saying, hey, listen, you know, thanks for your offer to send us some troopers. We want to act on that. And it was part of the discussion last night. Councilor Ryan asked the Chief of Police, Hugh Clements, specifically about acceptance of State Police Help Watch.
Can you do? What do you need from us to address the situation? Thank you.
So again, I've met with Colonel Manny on several recent occasions. We will accept the resources of the Rhode Island State Police as it pertains to our attempts to push down the ATV activity. Again, there is no magic solution on the ATVs. We talked about some pretty interesting things of which we can't reveal those strategies, but I will say this, because of our resources, not only ours, but theirs as well, we may not be able to deploy that more than, I'm hoping we can do it twice per week, but maybe not more than once per week. We just don't have the ability to to set out those directed resources on ATVs every single day.
That's a really interesting needle threaded by the chief, because up until last night, the information and intelligence that I had on this was that the mayor had denied a full conversation with the state police about overall neighborhood help. The ATVs is almost like its own soap operatic problem in the city. I thought your comprehensive letter describing the tone and the tenor and the violence issues in the city that you wrote last week was outstanding, and then you petitioned the governor for help. That's not the help that you were talking about. That little part-time, 40 hours, 40 grand, we're going to burn through it for the ATV help, is it?
That's part of it. One of the pieces that the governor did offer was the neighborhood response team.
Yes.
And we're looking for that aspect. Also, by the way...
But I'm told that that's not going to happen.
Well, that's part of what we're looking for. Also, we're looking for to enhance, as you know, the Providence Police Force.
Well, who's we looking for it? I'm told it's not going to happen.
Well, the City Council is looking for that. And we're looking for the chief to implement and work with the state police to address these serious issues, which is the quality of life issues.
So here's the thing for the public that's difficult. I mean, I support your mantra here. What's the public supposed to discern from this? Who's we? You know, my dad, God rest his soul, would say, I'd say, hey, Dad, we ought to, he'd say, what is this we blank? You know, we all grew up in that generation, right? What's this we blank? Who's we? Everyone's dancing around the administration. Only Councilor Narducci actually went right at Elorza and Perry, as I can recall, to say, hey, you two guys are the problem. I have a lot of respect for Perry. I have very little respect for Elorza. I think he's on Pluto and is the Peter Principle personified in government. So let's just establish that. But it seems like it's those two guys that are running a different kind of game plan. Chief Clemens was trying to say, hey, listen, I don't always agree with the commissioner. He was trying to make a speech. He said, yeah, I talked to Manny at the state police about getting an ATV help, but that's not exactly the whole enchilada that you're looking for. So what do you think that Clemens is going to do your bidding and actually ask for more state police when he's got a mayor that doesn't want him to?
Well, let me say this. It's not my bidding. It's the people of Providence's bidding.
Well, I'm talking about the legislative branch of government's bidding.
Well, legislative branch of government is the power of the purse. The reality is the mayor always, all the time, keep on asking us for money for all his events, his parties, his parades, and all the other specialty programs.
So what are you telling me? Is it? So are you going to hold funding until he does what you want him to do?
That he looks for items from the power of the purse from the City Council, or we're looking for action to deal with the violent crime uptick, addressing this ATV situation, and making the city safe again for everybody. So he has a moral, legal obligation to do it. And our job is to hold him accountable to do it. And if Commissioner Perry doesn't have enough strength or constitution to stand up to the mayor and say, this policy is bad. I'll give you an example. Last night, Commissioner Perry...
Which policy?
I'll give you an example. Commissioner Perry mentioned that the mayor is still promoting the idea of legalizing the ATV behavior.
Right.
He admitted it, said, which is totally counterintuitive of what's going on. The fact that the mayor thinks that is something he should spend his resources on, he's an island unto himself.
Nuts.
And the commissioner needs to know from the council members, who, by the way, who approve his appointment, who haven't approved his appointment yet, okay, needs to know that you work for both branches of government. And you need to step up or step out. And if you cannot enforce the existing laws, which outlaws ATVs in the city of Providence today, then you need to do this, step out. Because if you can't enforce the laws, then we need to get someone who's going to do it.
Okay.
And the mayor, just so you know, the mayor does not have the unilateral authority to circumvent the laws of the city.
All right, so you threw a lot at me because I threw a lot at you. Let's break this down clearly. Are you planning, is the city council majority planning on putting it to Mayor Elorza that either he acquiesce to a more cooperative neighborhood response between request from the state police, or you will start to impinge his budget? Are you going to make a formal effort to squeeze him?
So let me say, last night was the beginning of that process. Everybody's on notice now, right? The public has been heard, the public is clamoring for it, and they want an action plan. Now Commissioner Perry has an obligation now to put forward his plan. He said he would. Let's see what he's going to do. I'm going to give him an opportunity. All of us are. but he has a short time frame.
But you think that plan includes assistance from the state police in lieu of having an academy to build the
I think all
crew
of it. It's not in lieu. It's a multi-level. First of all, last night we got a couple of things. One, we got a commitment that a new academy will begin ASAP.
Yeah.
Number two, we have $110 million of COVID money that we can use for any purposes whatsoever. Yeah. And we got the chief to commit to put together a plan together to show us how to fund an academy, diversion programs, and to bring back community policing in the city of Providence, which people are demanding. Community policing is about building empathy between the officers and the people they serve, and vice versa. And we need to go back to that. And the most important thing is that we need to bring up the man and woman power in the force. It's 403, but 30 minus 30, which is military and IOD, we're down to 370 officers.
Okay, when we come back, I'll try to get a little bit more of a bang, bang, bang as to what you can expect in the next few weeks and months from the city council and the mayor and their dynamics. Stay with me. The City Council President John Igliozzi has been kind enough to join us here. I thought it was a very constructive meeting that you had this week. And again, we're recording on Wednesdays, so heck, Wednesday morning we had this shooting at a police officer. God bless him. He you know, inches away from perhaps losing his life. I mean, I wouldn't call it poetic because I mean it could have been catastrophic, but it was ironic in the sense to have that kind of an acute issue right after this meeting on Tuesday night. But specifically, Mr. President, if you can just be clear with me, is the City Council going to leverage against the mayor to get him to acquiesce to a need for state police assistance in the near future? Yes or no?
The answer is we're going to use all the tools that we have in the toolbox to persuade, to cajole the mayor to do the right thing. If that includes utilizing the power of the purse, so be it.
But you believe state police need to help now?
I believe that the governor's offering, we used the state police in the past, we should accept the offer. There's no shame in doing that. Right. This is about public safety.
I'm not sure where the chief stands. I mean, I think there's a little bit of provinciality amongst the police departments, always has been, although Manny, the colonel of the state police, and Clemens, both of whom are outstanding men and police officers, I'm sure we'll work it out. The commissioner stands in a funny place. He's the civilian leader of the police force, yet he's always been viewed, I mean, the position's always been viewed as an administrative position. I think he's a good man as well. He's got a little bit more of a political mission statement, seems to me, excuse me, and the chief really doesn't. So talk to me about that dynamic. I mean, you kind of put it to him at the meeting, and you kind of did that in the last segment. Be specific. Is he in a put up or shut up or do it or get out moment for you right now?
I think not just for me, but I think for the whole council. We're expecting real results. And the commissioner's been there for a long time. And the issue is that he needs to, once again, support Chief Clements and let him do his job, or get out of the way. Well, day to day,
see, this is the ambiguity, and I don't think you've been ambiguous, but it's this world of, give me the tangible examples. Obviously, we had that Sales Street deal where the videos were shown and the police were brought up, and the police union got really upset about that, and they still can't get over it, and I understand why. And then there's the post-George Floyd environment on policing that just kind of beats up everybody. And there's a lot of conversation about morale and feeling beaten down, and even Chief Clemens was kind of saying, these are my guys and gals. These are my cops. Stop picking on my cops. We have a tough job. Is it time to take a look at whether you need a commissioner at all? And just it's confusing for the public.
I think what happens is the commissioner's role, you have to make a decision. Either you're going to play it straight, or you're going to play it very political, or very, or very like legal. Right? Problem is, the commissioner has been playing it. He needs to step away from promoting such political policies, right? So you mentioned these horrific events that happened. You just mentioned Floyd. There's no doubt about it. No one supports any of that. But the reality is, you can't allow that type of political conversation that's driven by social media and all these other special interest groups to now, by the way, conflate in the city of Providence and then inhibit the Providence police from doing its job.
And don't we also have to just get rid of this vernacular of defund. I would recommend, far be it for me to tell you how to do your job, but I would recommend that the City Council, without even a tangible ordinance attached, pass a resolution of opinion that says, this defund thing is out the door. Reform, yes, you know, remodel, yes, but it's really clogged up. It's like, it's clogged up everybody's head. All last night or this week was funding, was adding police officers, was doing the community policing. Defunding is a concept that I think has kind of choked this mayor because his progressive politics, blah, blah, blah. I think Perry's kind of caught in that jam. If you can whack a cop while you're supporting a cop, you know, it feels good to keep the anti-cop constituency happy. That's the dynamic that I think that you're dealing with. Is it time for the council to make a statement and say, knock it off? We need more cops. Don't use the term defund. And by the way, we got to figure out a way, with or without the troopers, to get rid of these ATVs. Bang.
Well, let me say this. The council has actually, in fact, done that with the budget. Now, the vote, we had 6 council members who did vote against the budget. 5 voted to defund the police department, but the majority voted to fund and add more funds to the city of Providence.
I don't think it's tangible to the citizens to understand that.
I'm with you, but it is tangible in the sense that it's the entire funding of the entire city budget. And it shows at least the majority of the council understands that we do not accept this idea of defunding and abolishing the police department. That's the first.
Here's a number that we only have a minute. Here's a number that'll horrify everybody. Chief Clemens was transparent last night in answering a question about how many cops are actually on the street at any given time. It can be as low as 20 patrol officers in the entire city of 175,000 people in Providence at a given time. That number is the number that you ought to be talking about. That's the number that gets you your other 100, because that number to the average citizen would be horrifying. 20 seconds.
Well, that's why we need to have community policing again. That's why we have to finish the academy now instead of another academy. This time next year, we can have 100 new officers on the job. We can do it now. We can begin the process now, and now it's time to do it. So that can be addressed. Community policing is one of the key components to bringing back safety in our city of Providence.
You've got to have bodies to community police. You can call it any kind of policing. You can call it banana policing. If
but
you don't have the bodies.
That's the reason why you need these academies. And that's why the council last night got a commitment that they're going to start another one immediately.
Come on the radio with me next week. We'll follow this. Appreciate your leadership. Really do.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back for a final thought. What you want to do, or what you can do, stop talking about how policing is bad. Start talking about how policing might be one of the highest professional callings you can achieve. Because unless we build a fertile ground for all these academies we need, we're not going to get anywhere. We got to raise that industry. Period. Good night.